up, everybody? Subaru fan here in my garage because I'm doing something new to the BRZ today. As many of you know, I've complained about how loud this exhaust system is. I love the tone and the way it sounds, but I do not love the drone, and it's just a little bit louder than I would like. So instead of swapping it out for a catback and losing some of the horsepower gains you get with the header back and the more aggressive sound of the header back, I decided that I'm just going to do some sound deadening. I think I mentioned this like a couple months ago, and for some reason I put it off and decided not to do it, but I decided just to go for it. And so what I bought here is this Hushmat stuff, and it's sound deadening. It's a trunk kit. It's pretty easy to install from what I hear. It's all stick-on stuff, so I'm going to pull out the trunk carpet here and just put it in the spare tire well and just basically do the entire inside of the trunk here. So I'll show you guys how I do it. Never done this before. Couldn't really find too many instructions online as far as how to do it specifically for a BRZ, but it looks like there's just, you know, a bunch of these little clips that you may or may not be able to see up here where you can just pop those out, and hopefully all that trunk carpet will come out and it'll be nice and easy. Just pop it out and install the insulation, and we'll see if it quiets things up. So yeah, should be interesting. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do here is just pull out the spare tire cover and just pull out the actual spare tire itself too. It's screwed in here, so you got to unscrew that. Take off, there's a little plate here. Spare tire. Alright, so as you can see, pulled out the spare tire, and this is all, that's just the bare metal right there. So that's where, you know, a lot of the sound, I mean, this is right above the exhaust system, a lot of that sound comes up through there, and there's really not a whole lot stopping it. So we'll put a lot of that sound deadening material here, and hopefully that'll absorb a lot of that drone. So next is these little foam pieces that we're going to take out, you know, with the jack and the tools to, you know, use the spare tire. So we'll pull that out, and that way we'll be able to get to the rest of this bare metal here. There's that foam piece. So sometimes these little poppet things don't like to come out. They can be stubborn, and even with the screwdriver that's covered in cloth, sometimes these things can break apart. So this is one such casualty, and so as you can see, about half of it is torn off there, but it'll still hold it in fine. So it was just the one on the passenger side here to hold in the tools, and so now that's out. Alright, so once you get the last of those stupid little poppet clips out of the foam, this piece will be mostly free, but what I'll show you here is that when you tug on it, you'll see, let me pull out my flashlight so you can see better, this foam piece still has these little clips here, and then there's another one over there, and they're actually attached to the carpet here, so you can just slide it out on both of those, and then this will be totally free. Alright, so this is the way the trunk looks right now. You can see all those foam pieces are out, and the only thing now up here, you have the trunk carpet, and obviously the back of the back seat. I can't take that off, but we're going to pull these two side trunk pieces here. But you can already see, I mean, look how much sound deadening Subaru put in here. This tiny little piece of foam here, got that little piece there, and that's the extent of it. I mean, obviously they wanted to go for lightweight with this car, so that's why they kind of didn't put a whole lot of sound deadening in here. And this stuff does weigh a little bit. I wouldn't call it light, but it's not super heavy either, and I think that it's going to be worth the maybe 20 extra pounds that it's going to add to the car. Alright, so there's 5 of those little poppet screws that hold it each sides of the carpet in the trunk here. And these are a lot easier, as you can see. They actually pop up. They're very easy to pop out, unlike the other ones that held the foam in. Those were very stubborn. These ones come out very quickly and easily, but after you get out the 5 on each side, you'll notice there's actually 3 attached to this plastic piece that covers the trunk latch, and so we're going to have to pop those out and take that plastic piece off after all. And now with that out, these side trunk pieces should just pull right out here. And this one has that trunk release latch thing that you have to just pop off. And then we'll pull out the passenger side here. This one doesn't have anything attached to it, so this one just comes right out. And so there is the totally exposed trunk, and you can see there's no sound deadening around those wheel wells, and that's where a lot of that sound comes through. So we'll put some sound deadening all over all that stuff, and should really quiet things down. Alright, so this is the sound deadening stuff. The nice thing about this stuff is that it's bendable, and you can just cut it and have it fit whatever you need to fit in the car. And it's sticky, so you just stick it on. It's a very strong adhesive. I mean, obviously you want to make sure that you're applying it to a clean surface. So if you have a really dusty trunk or whatever is going on, I mean, this stuff isn't going to tend to move around. I mean, you have plenty of adhesive here that you shouldn't have a big problem, but you just want to make sure it's cleaned off enough. And you just peel off the brown backing and just apply it. Alright, so you can see the progress that I've made so far. I'm not doing this pretty, and I'm sure there's car audio guys that are probably cringing, and perfectionists that are, annoyed at the fact that there's little wrinkles in it. I mean, you can push this stuff and, really work it so that it's perfectly smooth and flat. You're supposed to completely cover everything if you can. Obviously, I have a little space here for where the spare tire goes. I don't want to interfere with securing the spare tire at all, so I want to make sure that's totally free and available to secure the spare tire. But otherwise, I'm making sure that all the seams cover each other up. And, you just push it down. And the nice thing about this stuff is it's really pliable. So like before I peel off the backing, like I'm about to do this piece here, you can see I'm working on this side. And I'm kind of pushing it, and you form it, and then you'll see it like holds its shape, so it's like bent now. And so now that one's ready to go, so I can just peel it off. And it's basically just like applying a bunch of bumper stickers is basically what you're doing here. You're just setting it up, and it's not super sticky, so if you put it down and it's not quite lined up the way you want it, you can peel it back off and put it down again, and then you just push it down and make sure that it's secure. And yeah, so I'm just going to keep doing it, and I've cut it into little strips here for the sides. I use just huge big pieces for the main parts here, but as we get along to all this stuff, it's going to get a lot more tricky. Be cutting smaller little pieces and just patching this, that, and the other, and hopefully going to cover up as much of this as we can. Another thing that makes it tricky is, of course, these are where the little poppets, are secured, and all these little holes where, those things are going to go in to secure the carpet. You can't cover those up, so we'll probably be, cutting around those and being careful that we'll be able to put everything back just the way it came out. Alright, so as you can see, I've made quite a bit of progress here, and got a lot more of this down. So that used to all be blue, and now it's black. And so kind of put it down and started on some of these wheel wells here. The only thing is, I don't want to get in the way of any of the strut mounts in case that ever needs to be swapped out. I don't want to cover up any of the connections or any of the wires or anything like that. So I'm kind of finding out it's probably unrealistic to think that I can completely cover the entire trunk from head to toe. But, I'm going to try and do some more stuff here. I can do back here a little bit. So yeah, I'm going to cover up a few more of these little spaces here that you see. And then I'm just going to put everything back together and see how it is. If I feel like I still could put some more in, then maybe I'll come back and put some more in later. But I think for the most part I have most of it covered and most of it done. So as you can see, I covered up the wheel wells there, and made sure I took it all the way back to the back seat there, and covered up that wheel well for the most part. And of course, the main thing was just insulating this huge big trunk area, and hopefully that'll make the largest difference. And I also put it up all the way through here. And so yeah, I'm just gonna grab a bite to eat and then put everything back together, and we'll see how it all turns out. Alright, so the last thing that I did do that I almost kind of forgot, and I'm glad that I didn't, was underneath here where you can see there were actually a bunch of holes that led straight to this rear deck where there's carpeting. And so there's actual holes there that are now covered by the sound insulation, and that's all covered up. So I'll finish putting everything else back in and show you the final result. Alright, all finished up, and as you can see, I mean, you can't even really notice, except unless you look up under there, you can't even notice that there is any sound deadening in here. So I mean, obviously it's all covered up by the trunk carpet here, and so yeah, hopefully that'll quiet down the exhaust system a little bit. So I hope that tutorial helped you guys, and yeah, so thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.